Good afternoon, everyone. In today's video, we are going to be looking very closely at Invest 93L to become our next named storm and possibly bring impacts to the United States as a hurricane. We have also Hurricane Franklin that is currently north of the Caribbean, and a couple new disturbances in the Atlantic we'll take a look at. Here's Invest 93L has now a 90% chance to become a tropical depression or tropical storm within the next 7 days. We also have Hurricane Franklin here, which is a Category 1 hurricane with 75-mile-per-hour winds. We have a small disturbance up here, which is a small chance at developing, and we have a new area of development coming off the coast of Africa. Here's the latest 7-day graphical tropical weather look from the National Hurricane Center. And starting off here, we have Hurricane Franklin with current winds of 75 miles per hour, a minimum surface pressure of 989 millibars, located at 23.5 north, 66.7 west, and moves north-northwest at 7 miles per hour. Within this 93L, which has a 90% chance of a cyclone formation in 7 days. This is the main concern in the Atlantic right now, potentially bringing a hurricane to Florida once again later next week. Now, reading off northwestern Caribbean Sea and eastern Gulf of Mexico, showers and thunderstorms associated with an area of low pressure located near the Yucatan Channel continues to gradually better organize. If this trend does continue, advisories will be initiated on the system later today. The system is expected to move very slowly northward into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico during the next couple of days. Heavy rains are likely over portions of western Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And interests in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, western Cuba, and Florida should monitor the progress of this system. So that's pretty much telling you to get prepared now. If you live in Florida, the Yucatan Peninsula, and Cuba, get prepared as soon as possible, as this storm could either be a weak tropical storm impacting Florida, or this could potentially be upwards of a major hurricane. That is not out of the question. Here's the current spaghetti models for Invest 93L. If this does become a tropical storm, it will be named Idalia. As you can see, it will be staying down here near the Yucatan Peninsula for a little bit until about 40 hours from now. This is when it'll begin to move northward, and this is when I believe it will be a tropical storm. As it moves northward, we do have multiple areas of where this could impact. We could see the Panhandle of Florida be impacted by this. We could see between the Panhandle and the Peninsula. We even have the potential for this being a tiny bit more eastern. This would bring a big impact to the Tampa Bay area. But as you can see, most of these spaghetti models are bringing this right in between the Peninsula and the Panhandle, while some are bringing it right into the Panhandle, and that will bring definitely some impacts to Tallahassee. Here's the current GFS ensembles, and this is a totally different model. The Global Hurricane Models compiles a bunch of different hurricane models. This is just one model, as you can see right here, but a lot of these other lines, these spaghettis, these are pretty much ensembles from the GFS model. This main black line, however, it is its main agreement line pretty much. So what the GFS is thinking right now is this goes up right into the Panhandle, brings impacts to Tallahassee, goes into Georgia and through the Carolinas, with the flooding potential after it makes those main storm surge and wind impacts. GPS ensembles bring this right in between the Peninsula and the Panhandle, bringing once again impacts to the Jacksonville area, Tallahassee, the Daytona Beach area could definitely see some impacts from this as well. So this is why the National Hurricane Center is urging everyone to continue to monitor the system very closely, as this could become a major hurricane. This could be just a Category 1 hurricane. This could be a weak tropical storm. As you can see by some of these models, they are just showing this as a weak tropical storm, maybe a strong tropical storm up to a Category 1 hurricane. But some models are quite concerning. And looking at the latest model intensity guidance, we do have this making impacts as a tropical storm right now. We have a couple making it to a weak Category 1 hurricane. But with the wind shear over Cuba right now, I don't think it will make it to a major hurricane. It won't really have time. But it's going to be moving slowly through the Gulf of Mexico, so that's the main concern with this storm. It's going to be moving slowly. That's going to give it time to maybe get into a rapid intensification cycle in the Gulf that could make it become a hurricane before making landfall in Florida. Look at the latest satellite imagery for Invest 93L. As you can see right now, we do have a lot of convection on the eastern side of this. You can very well see that low level circulation. We do have a lot of thunderstorm activity happening in western Cuba right now. That's going to bring some flooding, as this is kind of stalling out right now between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba. So it is stalling out right now. It's going to give it a little bit of time to develop. Overall, though, it is in some wind shear, so that's kind of evening it out. It's really not doing much right now. We're mainly just seeing thunderstorm activity from the amounts of shear that are in this area. This is going to be moving forward as we get past Sunday. This will be moving into the Gulf of Mexico. That's when it will give its greatest chance to maybe get into an intensification cycle, maybe becoming a tropical storm, even a weak hurricane within the next few days. Here we are looking at our first hurricane model of many that we will look at today. This is the GFS model from the 12Z run. This is zoomed in on Invest 93L. So you can see the low pressure system in the middle. You can see the isobars that are circulating it, and that's pretty much showing the pressure amount within the storm. As we move forward throughout time, this is Sunday morning. Pressure is starting to go down, as you can see right there. So it is strengthening in Sunday morning. You get to Monday morning, and as you can see, the isobars are becoming a little more frequent. You can see the pressure is down to 999 millibars the morning of Monday. And as we move forward here, you can see this continues to strengthen throughout Tuesday morning, and it begins to move northward in the Gulf of Mexico. We get to our 995 pressure, and that is pretty much a tropical storm right there. You can see the convection is quite organized, but there's not much on the western side. Of course, this is not exactly what it's going to look like, and things will change throughout the next few days. As you can see, this enters a rapid intensification cycle right before it makes landfall in the Panhandle of Florida around overnight of Tuesday into Wednesday. And this could bring it up to a Category 1 hurricane before making landfall in the Panhandle of Florida. Now, the GFS model shows this is just one model, and things will change with this model. This could either change paths, this could change intensity. But right now, the GFS model is showing a Category 1 hurricane making landfall in the Panhandle of Florida. Looking at the latest available European model, this does the same thing as GFS model, except that it's much weaker, and it's a far more east than the GFS model. As you can see, it only gets down to 995 millibars. That's a weak tropical storm making impacts in Florida. So once again, this could either be a weak tropical storm, possibly a weak to strong Category 1 hurricane. We have definitely lots of scenarios still. As you can see, this European model even takes us up the East Coast throughout the Carolinas as a tropical storm that does continue. It doesn't really weaken after making landfall. It's quite interesting from the European model. This model is going to look scary, but it is the HWRF model, which definitely takes things out of proportion a little bit. But the HWRF model has a crazy scenario of bringing a major hurricane to Florida. I don't think a major hurricane is going to happen, but since this model is showing a major hurricane at this point is not out of the question. Not trying to scare anyone, but this is definitely not going to happen. Down to 930 pressure, that is not going to happen. But definitely, I do expect a Category 1 hurricane to make impacts in Florida somewhere between the Panhandle of Florida down into the peninsula. Somewhere we'll see a Category 1 hurricane is pretty much my guess right now. We will have more details as the days come. You will see another upload tomorrow around this time, so make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on post notifications. You won't miss a single upload or live stream on the channel. Make sure to share this video with your friends or family and me with the latest updates on Invest 93L. I'll have continued updates on Invest 93L, as this is a concerning storm heading towards the United States. But as always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.